Hello friends, in this session I am going to take up for discussion the most important topic about the local government, that is the key provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. And too many questions have been asked in previous years in prelims and main exam. You need to have deep understanding the way Panchayati Raj institutions are there in India as per the provisions of Indian Constitution. So we will be talking about key provisions as per 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 in this session. So friends, I have already told you that this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, it was passed by, and these dates passed by Lok Sabha, passed by Rajya Sabha. So it was passed by the Lok Sabha on 22nd December 22nd, 1992. It was passed by Rajya Sabha on 23rd December 1992. President assented the bill this date is not important, 20th April 1993, but the act came into enforcement. Act came into enforcement 24th April 1993 onwards. Okay, so this is the reason why every year on 24th of April we celebrate National Panchayati Raj Day in India. Okay, so the act came under enforcement, okay, from 24th of April, 4 days after the assent was given by the President of India, it came into enforcement. And I have already briefed you that any amendment in the Constitution which impacts the federal polity can only come into enforcement if it is ratified by more than 50% of the state legislature. So after the Constitutional Amendment Bill was passed by two houses of parliament, it was ratified by 17 state legislatures, and then only President gave assent. 4 days later, the act got notified in the Gazette. Based on that, it came into enforcement. Okay, but we are here to discuss the key provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. You need to have complete conceptual clarity about the provisions which are there under 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, but I would just like you all to remember this, though I have discussed this earlier as well, that through this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, we added Part 9 in Indian Constitution, rather we filled the vacancy in the Part 9, and we created a separate part with this title, The Panchayats. The Panchayats. Okay, and all provisions related with Panchayat got inserted in Article 243 of Indian Constitution up till Article 243O, alphabet O, 243O. In addition to this, we also added through this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 11th schedule, and in this 11th schedule we listed 29 functional subjects which were to be brought under the purview of Panchayat, meaning for functional purpose they will be under Panchayats. Okay, so 11th schedule, I hope you all are aware, no, that in the 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, we have union list, we have a state list, we have concurrent list as far as the distribution of legislative subjects between union and states in the federal polity of India is concerned. Now we were creating third tier of government in the form of panchayats in rural India, but we were very clear that in third tier of government we will not have any legislative body, so only subjects functional purpose were brought under the purview, and this is the reason why we decided to create a separate schedule in Indian Constitution to list exclusively those subjects which will remain under the functional purview of panchayats. So that is what is there. Now I would just like you all to remember that all the provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act broadly can be classified into two groups or two categories. One is compulsory, and this is a very unique thing, compulsory, and second is voluntary. Okay, so the provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992, this can broadly be divided into two categories. One is compulsory provisions and second is voluntary provisions. Now you remember I told you earlier that, right, that if we see the fifth entry, and these facts you should remember, fifth entry in state list within 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, it talks about local government. This I have already briefed you. Okay. Meaning what? States can make law related with local governments. State legislature will make law related with local government. So 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, all the provisions which are there under the act broadly can be classified as compulsory and voluntary. Compulsory means, right, compulsory means what? You know, states have constitutional obligation to adopt. Meaning what? States have no other option but to adopt those provisions because it is required under Constitution. Okay. So very well, within the Constitutional Amendment Act we said these provisions are must for each states. Okay. And as far as voluntary provisions are concerned, voluntary provisions means states have discretion. States have discretion as far as adopting it is concerned. Meaning it is up to state to take a decision. If they feel that that provision is required in the state, then they will adopt, otherwise there is no obligation as such. So we attempted creating a uniform, yet we gave discretion to states to decide on their own in certain matters. So all the provisions of, right, all the provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 broadly can be classified into two categories: compulsory provisions, which was must for all states to adopt, and they were having the constitutional obligation to adopt, meaning they will have to enact law and will have to adopt what is within compulsory part. And whatever is within voluntary part, states have the discretion, they can adopt, they can take even a decision not to adopt, and partially also they can adopt the way they want, because they have discretion. Now, once you have this understanding, let me just tell you that as far as 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act is concerned, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 is concerned, now this act provides for Gram Sabha. Gram Sabha. First thing you should remember, this acts provide for Gram Sabha at village level, and this will be the foundation stone. This will be the foundation stone for whole system. And as far as this Gram Sabha is concerned, okay, it will be the village assembly, and this village assembly will consist of all registered voters of the village. Okay, so what is the foundation of Panchayati Raj system in India? Gram Sabha. And who will be given the membership of Gram Sabha? All the registered voters of the village together will constitute the village assembly, which will be known as Gram Sabha, and that Gram Sabha will be the foundation stone of Panchayati Raj system. This is very, very important. You should remember this. Okay. So Gram Sabha has the foundation stone of Panchayati Raj system. In every village there will be an assembly, and that assembly will consist of all registered voters of the village. Nothing, no election as such. Every registered voter will be the member of Gram Sabha. Now, under voluntary provision, we said that the states will have the power to delineate the functions of Gram Sabha. How much power they want to give to Gram Sabha, this can be decided by the states. Okay, so power and functions, powers and functions. Now both these to be delineated by state government. Delineated by respective state government. How much power they want to give, what functions they want to assign to Gram Sabha, to be decided by the respective state. So it varies from states to state. Okay, but Gram Sabha will be the foundation stone of Panchayati Raj system. Not only that, the most important thing, right, the most important thing, that this, right, this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act provided for three-tier Panchayati Raj system. Three-tier Panchayati Raj system. It provided for three-tier Panchayati Raj system, okay, with panchayat at village panchayat at village level, okay, then an intermediate level, and then Jila Parishad at district level. Okay. So, in every village there will be a panchayat, which will be an elected body, and there will be an intermediate level. What will be the name of the intermediate level? Voluntary, meaning states will decide, okay, and at district level we will have the Jila Parishad, right? District level will have the Jila Parishad. So, three-tier Panchayati Raj system is what finds mention as per 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. So, in every village there will be Panchayat, in every district there will be Jila Parishad, okay, and in between there will be an intermediate level, and which intermediate level will be there? That the states will have to decide on their own whether they want to call it Panchayat Samiti or they want to call it anything else, whether it should be at block level or whether it should be on the basis of population, everything. But there will be an intermediate level, 3-tier. Okay. So, rigidity is about that in every village there will be Panchayat, and in Jila Parishad will be at district level, and in between there can be one intermediate level about which states were given the freedom that they can decide on their own that what would be the function, what would be the name, what would be the basis for this intermediate level. And therefore, I can say through the provisions of Constitution, this act brought uniformity in the structure, uniformity in a structure of Panchayati Raj system in India. And there was a clause in this Amendment Act, Constitutional Amendment Act, that the states which were having population less than 20 lakh, they were exempted from constituting an intermediate level, meaning the states with population less than 20 can have 2-tier Panchayati Raj system, otherwise 3-tier. So, exemption was only for a state. As far as intermediate level is concerned, right, intermediate level, this was exempted for states with population less than 20 lakhs. Okay, with less than 20 lakhs. Okay, and what was said? It was said that, right, it was said that the term of panchayats at all level, term of panchayats at all level will be 5 years. So, whether it is panchayat in village, whether it is Jila Parishad at district level, or whether it is an intermediate level, the term will be 5 years. Meaning, after 5 years, these bodies will be dissolved and they will be constituted fresh with direct election. So, we will conduct direct election. Okay, we will conduct direct election and we will constitute these bodies, right? We will constitute these bodies. So this was another provision. Now, what I would just like you all to remember, that as far as head of panchayat is concerned, okay, who will be the head of panchayat? As far as the head of the panchayat is concerned, it is said that the method of election of chairperson of village panchayat is voluntary provision, meaning states will decide whether the head of village panchayat will be elected from among the elected members by elected members of village panchayat, or entire village will participate in the election and can elect the head of the panchayat. So this is something which you must remember, that one very important, right, provision with which there is discretion with the states is the method of election. Now, method of election, okay, method of election of whom? Chairperson, method of election of chairperson of village panchayat, Now, as far as this provision is concerned, it falls within the discretion of the states. Discretion of states. So you will find in some states we have the provision that there will be a direct election for Mukhiya or Sarpanch or Pradhan. Okay. But in some states we have the provision that ward members who are elected within the panchayat, see, village panchayat will be distributed within territorial constituencies. A small constituency will be there, which is known as ward, and from each ward one member will be elected, who together constitutes panchayat. And in some states we have the provision that the elected ward members from among them will elect someone as head or as chairperson of village panchayat. But what will be the method of election? States have been given discretion under 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, and this is why it varies from state to state. So this is very, very important that you should remember about the structure, right? About the structure. Now, another important thing which I would just like you all to remember, that as far as, right, as far as head of Jila Parishad is concerned, it says that indirect election will be there, and from among the members of Jila Parishad they will elect the chairperson. Okay. So this is what you need to know about the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. And I told you that since the 5th entry in the 7th schedule in the state list is local government, so all states have to pass act to define the power and function of Panchayati Raj institutions, right? Power and functions of Panchayati Raj institutions. So with this, Panchayati Raj institution was created in India with constitutional recognition. But I would just like you all to remember another important thing about 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. It is said, it is said that, see, under the provisions of Article 243, right, M. So this Article 243M actually talks about that this part not to apply to certain areas. And in which areas the part will not apply, part 9 will not apply? Areas which fall under district hill council, because similar arrangement is there in some parts of India, that there is an elected body which has a role to play as far as local governance is concerned. So this is the reason why within Article 243, specifically we have discussed that what we will do, we will not, right, we will not talk about, we will not allow this act to get extended to certain areas. For example, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act is applicable in all states of India except, right, except Nagaland, Meghalaya, right, except Nagaland, Meghalaya and Mizoram. And of course in some union territories. Okay. So what I said, that Article 243M says one thing, that this act will not apply, or this part 9 of Indian Constitution which talks about the panchayats will not apply to certain areas, and within certain areas, which all areas? Where we already have the district hill council with similar function, okay, and so it is not applicable in Nagaland, it's not applicable in Meghalaya, it's not applicable in Mizoram. In addition to that, it's not even applicable in Darjeeling Hill district, okay, so of West Bengal, that we will see. But I would just like you all to remember from prelims point of view that this part 9 of Indian Constitution, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, as on date is not applicable in Nagaland, Meghalaya and Mizoram. Okay, Mizoram. Now I would just like you all to remember that once you have understood this, then Article, right, Article 243, Article 243 D, it talks about reservation, it talks about reservation of seats, okay. Another important article is Article 243I, which talks about constitution of State Finance Commission, and Article 243, Article 243K talks about elections to the panchayats. Elections to the panchayat. For that purpose, there will be a state election commission. So I will separately talk about 3 aspects of Panchayati Raj institutions. One will be reservation of seats. Second will be constitution of a state finance commission under the provisions of Article 243I, and then I will be talking separately about the manner in which we have to conduct the elections of panchayat as per the provisions under Article 243K. But besides these 3, I have already discussed the key provisions of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, through which Panchayati Raj institutions in India got the constitutional recognition.